This is the truth to why no one wants to buy your marketing agency. The truth is that most marketing agencies are not sellable. And that's because most business owners, they build a job with overhead and not a valuable asset that can be sold. When potential business buyers are looking at businesses that they can acquire, they ask themselves the question, is this a valuable asset that can be transferred? Or is this a job that someone's built around their lifestyle and they're earning an income from it? The answer to that question determines whether you can have a valuable exit or whether you're stuck in a business that's really a job. If you want to unlock the true value of your business, click the link in the description and I'll discover the 3 core things which can turn your business from a job to a valuable asset that can be sold. So here's the real issue as to why you can't sell your business. Is because you're sitting at the center of everything. So there's 2 real types of business owners. Some business owners are running every single discovery call, or they're running every single retainer, and they're making the key decisions. And that's a real problem. But it can also be a problem if you have people who are actually doing the main work for you, but you're handling the key relationships, the big relationships. Buyers see huge risk if a business owner is the one who's handling those relationships, which are 5K, 10K per month. And those relationships which contribute a big part of the revenue of your business. That's actually more dangerous than doing some of the small work in your business. Because if those relationships are held by you and you exit your business and you're no longer there, then any business buyer is thinking to themselves, what happens to this key contract after the person who's been handling that relationship, has been managing that account, walks away from the business? That's why they start knocking down the multiple and the value of the business. One of the ways that you can fix this is to ensure that your team owns all of the outcomes in your business. So you set the metrics, you put the KPIs in place, and you assign those goals to particular roles within your business. Now, that doesn't mean that you're checking the campaigns or you're checking the ad creatives or you're checking the performance of the ROAS. What that means is that you give all of that work to them, to the team members within your business, and you're just checking that those outcomes are being achieved on a high level. That's what I call becoming a strategic owner of a business. And it's possible to exit your business. But there's a level which is better than that, and that's being the shareholder, in which can get you the best exit value for your business. Now, the only way that you can really truly become a shareholder is when you've set up the systems within your business. Because any business buyer is going to pay high multiples and a high price for your business if everything's been set up, all of the SOPs are in place, and all of the outcomes and delivery are all run by your team and not you. It then becomes that you are no longer the bottleneck in any area of the business, and you have a complete team and management team which is running the business for you. Now, management team doesn't mean that you need to have 5-6 people who are running everything. If your business is doing 1 million in ARR, or maybe it's doing even 3 million in ARR, you can't hire a full management team. But having one person in place is going to ensure that you can step out the day-to-day and give all of that work to that one person. So instead of you sitting at the center of everything in your business, you now have management that is sitting at the center of your business. And that is valuable for any business buyer. Now, the other thing that you need to do is you need to ensure that your business is built for exit. One of the big problems that I see is that most business owners, or a lot of business owners, and especially in the marketing agency space, is that they have built their business for income and not for exit. That's 2 different types of businesses. So you got one type of business which is built purely to maximize the number of, or the amount of cash that can be extracted to you as a business owner. And there's nothing wrong with owning that kind of business, but that kind of business is not built for a high multiple exit. When you want to exit your business, you need to transform your business from a cash extraction business to a sellable asset which can be transferred, the value can be transferred to a business buyer. Because when you've built your business for cash extraction, what you're trying to do is you're trying to minimize tax and you're trying to maximize the amount of money that you can take on a yearly basis. When you're building for an exit, you're trying to achieve something else, and you're trying to increase the multiple that you'll get on the profit of your business. Now, when you build a business for income, you're normally making short-term decisions, you're building for cash flow, and you're staying quite close to the business. But when you're building for exit, you're building structures, you're building strategy, and you're removing yourself from the operations. And that's what's transferable and valuable in the eyes of a business buyer. And that's when they're ready to pay you a large fee for your business. See, the thing is that most people don't have an exit problem, they have a design problem in their business. Now, a lot of business owners, what they think is that they've built over the years, they've built this engine in which is extracting cash or is generating cash for themselves. But business buyers, they are not looking for emotions and your hard work. It's the hard truth. A lot of business owners, they think, okay, I've worked hard over the last 3, 4, 5, 10 years to build this marketing agency in which we've got customers and we're generating 3 million ARR, 5 million ARR, 10 million ARR, and that is valuable. Now, that is valuable, of course, because you need income to have a business in the first place, but you need something which is valuable in the eyes of the buyer. They're not buying your effort, they're not buying your history. What they want is they're buying future cash flow. So when they're looking at your business, they're thinking in their minds is that how much of this cash flow is going to continue after I buy this business and after I own this business. They're not emotional, they're mathematical. The other thing that business buyers are looking for, they're looking for the reliability of your business. This is called quality of earnings in the M&A world. So what they're looking at is they're looking at your business and they're saying that is this mostly project work, or is this work, or is this revenue rather repeatable, and is it recurring? Because recurring revenue is the gold standard. Now, there's no harm in having project work, but if you can have a sustainable, retained level of income within your business, and the easiest way to do that is just have contracts with your customers, of course, especially in the marketing agency world, then a buyer will look at that very, very, very favorably. So when you're selling your agency, it ultimately comes down to three things. If you're involved in the business, it's not sellable. If your revenue isn't predictable, it's not valuable. And if you don't have systems and structures in place, then it's not transferable. And those are the three things which are going to harm your exit if you want to sell your business. Now, while most business owners, they get stuck in this stage that they want to sell their business and no one's giving them the offer that they want, the good news is there's some things that you can do to change that. Now, the shift is simple in theory, but the execution needs a bit of planning. There are three stages to this. If you're involved in the day-to-day, you need to exit the day-to-day. I call this an operational exit. So it's moving out of the operations of the business into a more strategic position. That's the first stage. And you can actually sell your business if you move into a strategic owner position. All it is that you won't get the most value that you can achieve from your business. So then the second stage is moving from a strategic owner to being a shareholder. And I call that a strategic exit. And that's when your business truly does become valuable. That finally leads you to the last thing, in which you can do a complete exit where you've actually sold your business to a third-party buyer who's going to pay you good multiples for your business. What they're looking for, that they can own the business and it can continue to run without you, it can continue to have the same level of earnings without you, and it can continue to have a team which is going to grow the business for them as a new owner. Now, once you know what you want to do, whether that's an operational exit, a strategic exit, or a complete exit, each one of those needs a different structure. If you fix those three structures, you'll have people who will want to buy your business. If you want to find out more on how to do one of those exits, click the link in the description and continue to watch videos on this channel. I will see you in the next video.